Happy Sunday, Tampa Bay. We're with you to talk about the local real estate market for another week here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show. Nice intro by Jack Harris. I've got David Graham with Graham Capital Advisors with us on today. And Jack likes us both, right?
I hope to tell you he does.
So I wanted to have Dave on today. We've spent the last probably several weeks talking a lot about interest rates. And interest rates are a hot topic because they really do move the real estate market, whether it's motivating buyers or whether it's demotivating buyers. Interest rates have such an impact because affordability is tied to it. But it also has such an impact on people financially in terms of investments and different strategies. And, we're in a market right now where I think with the incoming administration, there's no question we're going to see interest rates rise, and there's no question we're going to see some changes on the tax front and a whole variety of different changes coming after January 20th. And David, I wanted to kind of get your take on, what your thoughts were on interest rates, what you were seeing, how that changes people's investment strategies, even with real estate,
Sure.
Or without real estate, directly related to the, the interest rate scenario.
Sure.
We got sound effects this morning.
Yes, that means the train is leaving the station. And if you're going to do something about buying a piece of property, you better do it pretty soon, okay? Because the rates are now going up. Do yourself a favor, take that first step, give Andrew a ring here, and stop thinking about it. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. It's like hitting that light switch on the wall. You don't hit that switch, nothing happens. The moment you hit the switch, all the electricity goes on, the lights goes on, the air conditioner goes on, and something happens. And that's where you're at right now. If you're going to be buying something, don't wait any longer. The train is leaving the station.
Yeah, no question about it. And I think the, with rising rates and prices haven't risen so much, so people that are kind of sitting on the sidelines, they've just, it's just going to get more unaffordable for them. And obviously it's a mistake. And I think, even if you're looking to sell a home, it's a mistake to wait too. A lot of years, we've talked on the show in the past, David, about, how wait to put it on the market till the spring or the summer. And this year, we're not giving that advice. We're telling people, look, affordability is going to get hurt as the year goes on. Your buyer pool is going to be shrunk. And then after you sell, you got to buy something.
That is so true. You're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck. Don't wait. Don't wait. Now is the perfect time. Now is the perfect time to transact anything right now.
What about, so people, let's say there's someone out there and they've got their, the IRA, their 401k, and they're looking at all these different investment options. Does rising interest rates impact, your recommendation to people in terms of what they would do, or your recommendation about real estate?
Well, one of the things that people don't realize, there are so many people out there that don't realize that if you take your IRA or your 401k, if you're over the age of 59 and a half, you can self-direct that money. You don't have to leave it in stocks and bonds. And one of the recommendations we tell people, especially if they like real estate, is all you have to do is go to a third-party administrator, and Andrew can give you the name of one right here in the Tampa Bay area.
We had him on the show. We had him on the show.
Oh, yeah, it's got on the show?
Yeah, we had him on the show with you too. It was.
That's right.
Yeah, we've had qualified intermediaries on the show a few times.
So the moment that you transfer it over, you're allowed to buy yourself a piece of property, income property that will then be essentially owned by your IRA, qualified. But it's a different form of investment. You don't always have to put it in stocks and bonds, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with owning a piece of property that's only going to appreciate in value, but you also get income from it.
It was Advanta, I believe. I believe it was Advanta.
Advanta, Scott Maurer, over at Advanta.
Yep.
You go to their website, and then you call us up, and Andrew can take care of it from there.
Well, and the neat part about, like you said, about buying, a lot of people don't realize the ability to do that. And obviously, if we keep talking about, rent prices rising and home values rising and how safe really real estate is right now, in terms of, we've gone through several years past the bust now, several years of stability, and real estate's a pretty safe investment right now. And real estate, different than in your world, we don't see a huge drop or a huge surge in prices in one day.
Andrew, it's so
very
true.
solid.
Exactly. I tell people this, when you want a conservative investment, think of real estate in our country. Since the founding of our country, when we were an agrarian society back in the 1800s, all real estate prices did was slowly, slowly, slowly go up. Went from farms to cities, and then we had the Great Depression, and they dropped, but that was after 100 years. And then after the Great Depression, it went up again for 85 years until they allowed triple mortgages, and we had a correction of 50–55%. And the rest of my lifetime, real estate, guarantee you this, real estate will only go up the rest of my lifetime.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I think the other thing that people, you know, don't factor in, although we don't know how much of this is going to stick around, a lot of tax benefits of owning investment real estate. You know, the depreciation and mortgage interest deduction. Now, obviously, we know the current administration has talked about axing that, but it kind of gets lost in the shuffle because in the conversations of axing some of that, he's also talking about dropping personal income tax levels a lot. You know, so it's, well, you might lose some deductions. We're talking about the big number dropping quite a bit. So in the grand scheme of things, I think it's a win for a lot of people.
Oh my gosh! Well, remember too that, you know, our incoming president made his fortune on real estate.
Sure.
And he also took advantage of the tax benefits for, you know, you don't have, you know, depending on where you're at and what you owe,
sure,
you don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
Because that's how the laws are. And I'm curious to see how he deals with that, because he
Yeah.
made his fortune.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, and obviously I'm intrigued by, you know, his aspect of knowledge of real estate, because I think that will obviously translate into a pro-real estate administration. At least my hope and expectation is there's obviously a lot to change, but you know, there's been a lot of conversation about people talking about him axing some of the write-offs, but I think in axing some of those write-offs, what he's wanting to do is simplify things, but lower the actual, you know, so even if you lose your mortgage interest deduction or your depreciation, but your top line number goes down, in reality, it's still a win.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first time in my lifetime that I think we actually have a legitimate shot at changing our tax code and making it more simplified, more realistic, more fair across the board. And, you know, we have a very conservative Republican House and Senate and a president coming in now that is going to have a shot at it. And, personally, I think only good things can happen.
And I from a tax perspective, I'm 100% on board with that. I love the idea that he's a real estate guy. I think is super impactful.
Absolutely.
The interesting thing though will be what happens with interest rates, because you know, I think for those past couple of years, and you would probably agree, there's been they always attempt to say they keep politics out of the Fed, but I think there's been some politics happening to really artificially keep interest rates low to help fuel things. And now that starts trickling up, it's a matter of how fast it trickles up. Because obviously, if it goes up too much, and let's just be honest. I mean, you know, real estate, you know, 10 years ago, 6 and 7% interest rates weren't really considered bad. Right. You know, today, if you told somebody they were going to get a 6% interest rate, they'd probably throw a fit. But in reality, they're going to rise. It's just a matter of how much they rise with affordability as to you know, that teeter and totter back and forth to keep the real estate market stable. Because if they rise too much with prices, then you just lock too many people out of the market. But if they you know, incrementally rise and prices continue to incrementally rise, then I think we're in, you know, really good shape for another long positive real estate cycle.
No, there's no two ways about it. It's going to be just a matter of time, but we are in a cycle now, and I repeat this like a parrot, as I say every day of the week to clients, new clients that are coming in. Look at alternatives to invest in. And real estate, if people do not have real estate in their portfolio, in some capacity, if they don't own property, how come you don't at least have a REIT?
Yeah.
But the reality of it is that if you really want to get the appreciation and control it, truly control it, you know, one of the problems with real estate investment trusts is that they always get your dividend, but you don't know when they're going to liquidate.
Yeah.
You don't, it might take 1, 2, 3 years. Sometimes they say a year, and it takes 3 years. If you have a piece of property, you're in control of that.
And you have the ability to make the decisions about now's the time to sell or
Now
not.
Exactly.
Correct.
You control that, and that's very, very important. That
Making improvements to the property, you know, those types of things. And with buying in and we talked about this before too, with buying in the 401k or IRA, you have to be really, there's commingling laws where you can't go out and personally work on your property. You can't, I mean, you have to hire somebody, and it has to come out of the money that's in that account, and you can't commingle funds. So there's some restrictions on that, but you could still use the money in your IRA to improve a property, and then, you know, let's say you spend $10,000, but you improve the value by 20. You know, you can't do that in a REIT.
No, you can't. You cannot do that in a REIT. And again, you can be hands-on. it's not that much more work to be hands-on.
Yeah.
Even if you just get a management company to do it for you, in some cases, you're better off getting a management
I
company.
think most of the time you are. I mean, especially unless you're really, really, and then when you buy through when you do the 401k or IRA, you're actually required to have a management company. They have to have a separate company that manages it. But even if you own property on your own, I'm just a firm believer in using property management company. We had Renters Warehouse, which is a new property management company to the market. We've had them on the show a few times,
Sure.
and I think they really have the property management thing figured out. They have dialed in how to service. They're a humongous nationwide company that's new to Tampa, but I got to look at their system, kind of how they service people and how they use a central hub, and it's an individual person attempting to replicate what they do for what they charge is impossible. They do an incredible job, and I think that they're going to be a game changer for property management. And I think for the most part, if you're a landlord, you are much better off having someone else manage it, because the time that you spend dealing with the toilet call and this is broken and that is just it's a time drain on everything else in your life. Go out and buy more property and let them manage the details.
So true, Andrew. So it took me a while to figure that one out because I was losing time trying to do it myself. Call up the handyman.
And you're going over there to show it, the person doesn't show up. I mean, there's just a lot of nuisances, and that's the one thing I've learned with first-time landlords. I think they get really discouraged about being a landlord when they do it the first one, and they do it themselves, and then they're like, oh, this is just too much work. When if they would have hired a management company, their return might have been lessened a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, they probably would have had a more positive experience.
Let me just get this in before the break here. I want you to know that you're listening to the #1 realtor in the state of Florida. And I watched this guy get on the radio and build an organization that is a national company now. It's amazing to see. It's really exciting to see, Andrew, because
Thank you very much.
Really, really hard at this. But that's the reason why you have Jack Harris doing spots for you, Jeff Vinnick and the Lightning, supporting you, because you're pretty damn good at what you do. And I'm really proud of you. I'm really glad that your show follows my show, because it's a carryover to it. But if you need help in real estate, there is nobody, I mean nobody, that's going to give you better guidance than Andrew Duncan. So go to Duncan Duo,
DuncanDuo.com.
and let him help you. Will you please?
Yes, thank you, David. I appreciate it. And we're going to be back. We appreciate your time, David. Great topic today, and we'll be back after a quick break here on 970 WFLA.